Yeah. All right, cool. So this is me. You guys can chat. You guys can talk to me about entity development, talent management. You can also talk to me about IGV, operation strategies, and things like that. I'll be more than happy to take your questions even after the conference for this. So for this particular workshop, the objective is to help you identify your personal strengths and dive a bit deeper into where those strengths come from, and also help you identify your team strengths. And the second objective is to develop a thought process or for managing the team based on the individual strengths of the team and also the overall team strength. How the session, like what you may learn from this particular session, is that you will have clarity on some of your personal strength. I'll also help you give a framework for identifying team strengths and then put it into one place where so that you can see and then you can work with the team strength. And then last but not the least, design how to design management practices around the team strength so that you as LCP, you as EB of your own LCs achieve more. How is the session divided? Is that first I'm going to have a theory, self-reflection, and then theory, and then we have like a 30-minute activity where you will do like a workshop where you will collect collectively the team strengths, and then I'm going to give you some tips, and then at the end we're going to have Q&A. So before I dive into the topic itself, if at any given point in time, if you think that I'm speaking fast, because sometimes I tend to speak very fast when I'm explaining this other topic, if you think I'm speaking fast, then just type it in the chat that goes slower, or there's a function in the Zoom participants to tell us go slower or go faster. That then it notifies me that okay, you're going fast or you're going slow. Or you can just type it in the chat, and I will take your questions. If you have at any given point in time, if you have questions, you can just unmute yourself and ask. Is that a good expectation? Give me a thumbs up if you're on the same page. Right, I see some people giving thumbs up. Cool, amazing, nice. Let's directly dive into the session itself. Okay. Uh, so this is, I want to start the session with a quote, which is something which I personally believe in a lot. And this has been one of my mantras in any and every of the team which I led. Fortunately, I've had experience of being a part of more than 35 teams in ISEC. And throughout my experience within ISEC and even outside, in all of the teams, this is one thing which has always been common, is that the level of your professional achievement in any team can never be more than the level of your personal development. Like the level of your personal development becomes the maximum bar with which to which you can achieve, you can raise your professional development. So if you want to achieve more professionally, first thing you need to take care of is your personal development. And as a leaders of your LCs, this is true for yourself as well and for your team as well. So that's why we are looking into team strengths and how can we identify those team strengths with your EB members so that you together achieve more. So let's, before as an LCP, we enable this identifying strength and support your EB members to play by the strength and start building your team. First, you need to understand your own strengths. So let's dive deeper into some of the strengths. Some of you have already done a workshop on day one with Fassi Johnny about betting on your strength, on focusing over weaknesses. What I'm going to do is I'm going to dive a bit deeper into your own strength. Are you ready for a self-reflection activity? What I want all of you to have is a pen and a paper or any form of digital note taking you prefer. If you prefer notes or a notepad or anything you prefer, I want you to sit quietly in one place without any distraction. For the next 15 minutes, I want you to do this activity. I'm going to give you guys quick 30 seconds to grab pen and paper or ready your notepad wherever you prefer taking notes. All right. Give me a thumbs up once you're done that or type it in the chat.
तेरे
All right. I hope most of you are ready for the self-reflection activity. So this activity is going to revolve around identifying your strength and why that a particular strength of yours is your strength and how have you utilized the strength. So the first question I want to ask you is, what are my top 5 strengths? Sorry, what are my top 10 strengths? I wanted to note down the top 10 strengths you think you have and you have demonstrated in the past experiences. I'm going to give you 5 minutes for this to quickly note down what are my top 10 strengths. All right. I'm going to play some reflective music for this. Out of the 10 strengths you have written down right now, based on your past experience of working with teams, identify your top 3 strengths. So out of the 10, I want you to shortlist that 10 thing to top 3 strengths according to you have. Okay, I'm going to give you another minute or two to write that down. All right, I see most of you have already done. So what we just did now is like you wrote down your 10 strengths, shortlisted into 3, and now you have your biggest strength. Let's dive deeper into this biggest strength. And I'm going to ask a couple of questions about this one biggest strength which you have. All right. So the next question I have for you is, since when do I have this strength? Mention one key event in your life since this strength became a part of you. I'll repeat the question. Mention one event in your life since this strength became a part of you. Since childhood, is it something which you learned in ISEC, or is it something you learned in school, whatever. Since when do you have this strength? All right. Since most of you have mentioned that you're done, I'm going to move on to asking the next question about this strength. Now, this is a bit tricky question, so pay attention. Why do I need to have this strength? You've mentioned it as one of your most important strengths, right? And then you mentioned that you've developed because of a certain event. You have mentioned that one event, or since when do you have this strength? I wanted to dig deeper and ask yourself really this question: how this strength has shaped me, how this strength has influenced me, and why do I need to have this strength in my life? Is the question clear? All right. What is the significance of this strength? Why do I need to have this strength?
Skill that I have developed through these strengths is like understanding people and how to approach to people like differently. So for example, like we are in like global world and you meet like now I meet a lot of people from other countries. So using empathy, I like approach people with sensitivities and um be like good friends of everybody. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I can take one more sharing. Does anyone else want to share? What did they discuss?
Can I go?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we were in breakout room number 6. It was me and Michaela from Australia. So I think we had a similar strength, but the way we described our strength and the way we perceived our strength was quite different. So for her, she described her strength as being hardworking, is being very dedicated with her work, and that arrived from one of the event where she was facing a lot of uncertainties. And for me, I describe my strength as loving what I do, because that's something that has been there with me since I was a child. But then I lost it somewhere in between, and I think it's something that again helped me rekindle with my own strength. And the reason why I do ISEC and why I'm here at the moment is also because why I love it. And then a lot of skills that I've developed is because when you love doing something, you make sure that you do no matter whatever it takes. So yeah, that was a discussion that we had, and yeah.
Thank you, Deepika. I can take one more quick sharing. I saw more people asking to share. Does anyone else want to share? Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, hi guys, it's Vatsal. So we were in breakout room number 8. I think, yeah, it was Yamin. I'm not sure about the breakout room. So yeah, we discussed a lot of things about like how our strengths and like how did we actually like select our strengths, because like selecting a top one strength among the top 10 or like other strengths, first of all, that's a challenge in its own, right? And like knowing that how is this strength like your real strength, and like getting to know you, like questioning why this strength specifically made us like really clear about like what are the things that we have been developing through it, like how this strength has been helping us throughout our life journey, whether it be in ISEC 2. So yeah, it was a really great conversation. And like yeah, she mentioned about being open minded, like which has helped her to get a lot of like different things, and a lot of like whenever someone shares anything, like she's really open minded and gets it easily and gets a different perspective also. And I shared about like being there for people. So yeah, like it was a really good conversation, and thank you for this space, Prayog. It was really amazing.
Thanks, Watson. So Solomon also had raised his hand, so I'll just ask him one last sharing. Okay.
Well, did I share my hand? I don't think so.
Oh,
I tagged Lin
oh,
Wu
Lynn.
from
Okay,
MU.
Okay, yeah, I can share.
go ahead.
So my one, I talked about my key strength being open-mindedness, just because I think it really affects a lot of the decisions and like overall actions that I take, both like within ISEC and also outside. Specifically, like a skill that I managed to develop out of being open-minded was really like being able to proactively like seek feedback, and then on top of that, like really accepting it with like a open mind, like understanding that whoever's like giving it, if it's like constructive, that they have like the best intentions, and then also kind of like being able to actually implement it as well. Yeah, that is all from me.
Thank you, Lynn, for sharing that as well. Um, just give me a second. All right. So I'm just going to share a bit of from my story. So one of the strength which I hold very dear, like when I did this activity, one of the key strength I found is that my most important strength, according to me, was my knowledge. I was curious since as a child, and I used to do a lot of things. So I was very curious to know about things. I used to ask a lot of questions. I used to take participation in a very lot of competitive examination since as a child, and I used to win a lot of certificates and stuff like that. I used to love doing those things, like appearing for different competitive examinations. My parents and my grandparents used to prepare me for that. So one of the things I hold dear and I hold as a value about everything is my as a strength is my knowledge. But what happened through that knowledge is I converted that I converted knowledge to a skill, which is reading. I started loving reading. I started reading a lot of things. I converted that curiosity of knowledge and hunger for knowledge into reading books. And what led to what is the point I'm trying to make from this whole activity is that led to me knowing a lot of things and understanding a lot of things from different perspective. And then that how that skill, how that strength was converted as a skill, which is into reading, which led to the thing which I bring onto the team. How I utilize my strength in the team is I am a resourceful person in each and every team which I join. So I read a lot about how things happened in the past. I talk to a lot of people from the past. I collect a lot of data. I read different articles. I read different books. I read different management theories, and I'm a resourceful person. So how I brought that skill into my team is by being resourceful. So this is how strength can be converted into skill and can be utilized in a team setting. So what is the important key point I wanted to take from this activity is your strengths are, there's an interesting point over here. Like if I had asked you one more question that, okay, why, the question I asked you, why do I need to have this strength is, and then connected that to one of your event or one of the past story, is that all of our strength and even our weaknesses are connected to some events in our past, or are connected since you've developed that strength or that weaknesses are connected to some of the events or the way you were raised or the way you experience certain things as a child are all dependent based on that, like whatever the heap of memory you have or the imagination you have or the kind of upbringing you have had as a child, your strengths and weaknesses are influenced by that. And actually that is an outcome of different insecurities, different challenges you have faced as a childhood. But when you come back, when you take all those strengths and weaknesses, when you convert all those characteristics of your personality into a team setting, you need to be able to work on converting your strengths to different skills and converting to be able to convert your weaknesses into opportunities to improve. I'm going to give one more example over here. Is that one of my weaknesses is that I can't say no to people. I'm a type 9 person in Anagram. Is that it's very difficult for me to say no to people. So what it leads to happening is that I overpromise. I tend to overpromise in a team that I'll be able to do this immediately, or I something which is out of my capacity, something which I cannot deliver. I know in the back of my mind, but I cannot help saying no to the person, so I overpromise a lot of time. What is the opportunity for me there is that by overpromising, I tend to if I overpromise and of course don't deliver, then that connection with that human is not formed. Or I tend, like for example, if in a team I overpromise a lot and I don't deliver on that promise, then I won't be trustworthy teammate, right? So what is the opportunity I have for my weakness that I can't say no is to improve human connections, to improve team connections, things like that. So to identify this, the similar activity you can do for weaknesses also with you and your team members also, and understand how certain events in the past or certain events, certain memories from their past have turned into their strengths and have converted into the skills. And also certain events have converted into their weaknesses, and also what is the opportunity or area of improvement they have to work upon their weaknesses. I hope everyone is with me now. Give me a thumbs up if you're with me so far. All right, cool. Thank you. So you can do a similar activity with your team also. I know some of you attended this phase with Johnny. You were mentioning in the beginning that focus on your strength, which is a good advice. It's a great advice. But for that to happen, first you clearly need to know your strengths, right? And that comes with extreme amount of self-awareness. I think this is one of the things, this is one of the lead elements, which is, I believe, this is one of the most important things you can have and develop. So firstly, you need to develop that self-awareness. So what kind of leader I am, what are my strengths and weaknesses, what do I bring onto the table for the team, and then to be able to facilitate that for your team members is one of the extreme important skills you can have as an LCP. Like how self-aware you are is going to be reflected in how aware your team is, and then how well you can bet on your strengths to achieve more results. Cool. Uh, and and as an LCP, you need to help facilitate this process. If once you are self-aware, once you start going through this journey, this is of course not an overnight thing. You constantly need to work upon yourself. But one of your major job role, if you see as an LCP or as any president, is to lead, manage. These are the three factors which we always talk about: lead, manage, and represent. So once you lead, like this particular fact which comes between lead and managing, when you manage your team, at the same time, how are you leading your team to develop themselves? Remember the first quote I told, how are you supporting your team members to work upon their personal development at the same time when you're managing their performance? So firstly, in order to do that, firstly you need to know them as humans. Firstly you need to understand them as who they are, where they come from, what is the context they come from, what is the profile they bring onto the team, and only then you're able to facilitate this particular this journey for them, for your EB members. And once you do that with every individual EB member on your team, then collectively as a team, you have something I call is the team strength, or something I call as a team weaknesses. So what is a team strength? Is collective teams, individual strength combined put together it translates into your team strengths. And if you know the team standards, the first activity in the first 90 days you're going to do is work a lot upon your team building, right? So this is the most important thing. You need to be able to first understand your teammates as humans, and then facilitate this process for self-awareness for them, starting with their strengths and weaknesses. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to directly jump into an activity to understanding who do I have on my team. So the activity for the next 20 to 30 minutes is how it's going to go is I have like a quick template for all of you where I would want you to identify who all you have in the team. I don't expect the activity to be completed in this 30 minutes, but as maximum you can get in this 30 minutes done, that will be good. I'm going to give you the link to you guys over here. Just give me a second. So once you click on the link, this is how it's going to look like. You're going to land into this. You're going to land into this folder. Make a copy for yourself, and this is how the template looks like. Once you open it, put your LC name. The instructions are given. What you need to do is first make a copy for each of your EB members. Since you have completed your team selection, make a copy for each of your team members. When you selected them, you might have done certain personality tests with them, either MBTI, Enneagram, or team roles. If you have done it, if you have that information, please put it into the template. If you don't have, then don't worry. You can do this with them later on as well. This is a template which is like a simple one. You can put their photos, what are their personal mantra, what are their past roles for, key experiences were, whatever their MBTI or like the personality type is, what is their Enneagram, or different personality tests you may have taken with them while you selected them. Very good. If you don't worry, I've given you links over here. You can do that later. Over here, just mention the profile of LCVPs. Different based on their MBTI, based on their Enneagram. A lot of time we just ask them during the selection process, but we don't know actually what that means. So that's why I've given you these links over here. You can check. If you open the MBTI link, which will take you here, you can read about different personality types. So if I'm an ENFJ, then I'm a protagonist. So in this over here, there are certain things which I mentioned. Okay, ENFJ people, then what are their strengths and things like that. You can quickly go through it depending on if you have done this, or if you have done Enneagram and you know what type of people you have on your team. If you're type 2, so I'm a type 9 person. So some of my strengths become like balance, accepting, harmonious. Over here, you have certain things like how to work with them, what are the things you should avoid, what are the strengths they bring on the table, what might be their potential weaknesses and things like that. So I've given you certain links to certain tests. You can check them out also later. And this template is for you. the idea is, the point is, before you go into team building, you need to have some sort of a profiling of all of your team members. And that's the point of the activity. Once you're done that, you can identify their top strengths, top skills. You will be doing this. You can use this template for your first one-to-one and things like that. Top 3 weaknesses. But in this 30-minute activity, what I would want you to do is copy this for each of your EV members, identify certain personality traits, put their profile as an LCP, and at the end, try to identify certain common things you have and certain similarities you have and certain differences you have. So I'm going to give you the link right now. Okay.
Prayog.
I haven't given you the link yet. Okay. Yes, tell me.
Yeah, I just want to say that we couldn't see like the template that I believe you were trying to present, but we were on the slide. Like you're presenting the slide still.
Okay. Is it clear now? I thought I shared the whole screen. Sorry, my bad.
No, it's all good. I think we get it though.
Now?
I think we understand what's happening.
All right, cool. So I have this template and I have given certain, you can this is the template, this is how it looks like. Go here, change your LC name. There are certain links I have given to personality trait tests you may have done with your team. You can check their info. It may look something like this. There are certain strengths. So for example, if you're a type 9, then there are certain strength, weaknesses mentioned. Use these links to identify the kind of teammates you have selected and just put this into your template. Okay, is it clear now? At the end of this activity, what I want is like a rough profile of the LCVPs you have and any common traits, any similarities you find or any differences you find. You have about 20 to 25 minutes for this activity. Okay, let me share the link. Right, go into Drive. You don't need to make a copy here. You can make it on your personal drive also. That's fine. I don't need the output and I don't expect the output to be complete in this workshop, but I wanted to start with this particular process. I'm gonna put a 20-minute timer for this first, and let's see how far we've gone. Okay. Can play some music. Right, last 30 seconds. All right, time's up. Hey guys, come back. All right, if you can hear me, if you're here, give me a thumbs up. Type it in the chat. Open your videos so I can see your beautiful faces. I know it was not enough because it was meant to be. This activity cannot be completed in this workshop, but I wanted to get a hold of it. All right, cool. I'm gonna ask 2 people quickly to share what are their output. Whoever think they've made a good progress, you can share. I have allowed, you can share your screen and you can show your PPT as well. I've given you rights to share the screen. Who wants to share? Let's get to know the EB teams in AP, guys. Don't worry, if it's not complete, then it's also still fine. I was checking some of the output. I think some entities in Myanmar, ISIC and YTU, they have good progress. Anyone want to share?
I'll share.
Yeah, you can share your screen, or you can just share as well. Okay.
See, yep, I haven't finished it. So generally, she's SVP OGX and handling for OGV and OGT. Okay? And she's a kind of member who is like good at strategy, planning, execution, and very goal oriented and very like workaholic type. And her improvement is like to have transfer of positivity in our team. Yeah. So another one is he. So he is a kind of person who is really good at communication and always craving for the learning points and also really resilient. So he can bring resilience and then communications to our team. So another one, this is Gao Kanzo, and he is LCP marketing, and his strengths are like communicator and also really innovative, and it really fits the marketing profile. And he's also at the same time he's also a logical person, and I hope he to bring innovation and communication to our team. Yeah. So next one, this is Tracy Ricky, and she is LCVP now, and also yeah, she is also good at communication, and also she is really resilient and have a really strong mindset. She looks like fragile outside, but however during the interview we got to know that she's really strong inside, and also her weakness may be transparency and also positivity. Yeah. So next, the final one is Tanya Wei. So she is LCVP Finance and Legality. And her strength is her unique strength is consistency. Like she has experienced many roles during the ISEC, but however, she still have motivation to apply for LCVP position. And also she applied for LCP position and she feel like how much ever she feels, she still have resilience and consistency to apply another position. So yeah, this is her unique strength. Yeah, consistent. Yeah. So this is our team. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for sharing that, Yamin. I think some of the things you can identify is that some of their common strengths is it get better in communication. I think their MBTI, the 16 personalities were also matching. And you also mentioned the majority of the members in your team were resilient as a team member. So I think these are some of the common things, and you can also check out what are some of the differences you have in the team. Does anyone else want to share quickly? 1 minute. Going thrice, twice, once. All right, cool. No worries. The idea is to continue this activity. I know you may not yet know all the team members which you have, but that's what you're going to do in the first 90 days. That's what you're going to work upon, building your team, right, as a part of the team standard. So really get to know first, like define your team profile, identify the common profiles which they have, and based on that, identify the common strength they have, common weaknesses they have, and then you can move forward from that point in time. It's important to profile your LCPs first to understand who do you have on the team. And then as an LCP, it becomes easier for you to assign roles, assign different responsibilities to your ED members. So what I'm coming towards is one of the powerful tools which you have to align the personal development plans to these members' strengths and weaknesses, and how can you assign responsibilities based on those strengths is personal development plan. So some of the things you should have in your personal development plans whenever you follow up with them is firstly, it should be regular. And when you come to the when you deliver a PDP to them, it should include a self-evaluation of they themselves answering questions such as I asked you in the first reflective activity. What is my strength? What according to you, since when I have strength, and things like that. In the past, if you're doing it monthly, in the last month, what are my learnings? How did I grow? And things like that. They should also include SMART goals, which is like specific, measurable, attainable, realistic and time bound. It should have a measurable goal which you can track in a period of 1 month. And the two most important things, or like the three most important things, is how in the past month their strengths have contributed to a team success, not just individual success, but also team success. So that way, you know, they are actually able to play by their team strength in the team, and how they have improved upon their weaknesses. And last but not the least, some key learnings and achievement from the month. Why this is important is, if you notice, for more than 1 or 2 months, if members are not able to tell their achievements, your EB members are not able to say perform or tell their achievement, you don't ask question, okay, why are you not performing? Why, what is happening? I don't see your contribution. Instead of asking them or instead of blaming them, how in PDP you can host a conversation. Do you think you're able to play by your strength? Do you think you know the role you play into this team? Do you know which of the strength you bring onto the table? Like, why did I select you? What is the strength which you can bring onto the team? These are the kind of things you can inform or tell your EB members, and also discuss during the PDP meeting. Are you guys clear with me so far? Give me a thumbs up if you are. All right, cool. I'm gonna give a quick example. Like, this is something which we also, right? Hold on a second. This is something which we also do. I'm just gonna give a personal example. For example, this is my PDP for this quarter. So we, on a regional office level, we do it on a quarterly basis. So how, like, this is one of the tools, but I would highly suggest you to come up with a similar tool and work, like track the PDPs of your team members. All right. So this is the tool which even AI has a similar tool. Is that first we do some self-assessment, then we set goals, then we have a plan, and we align it, and then we have accountability for the different PDPs. So just give me a second, it's loading. All of you can see my screen, okay. So this is certain self-assessment I have done. So based on that, there are certain remarks which my team leader Isru, which is going to be in the next team, has, and some of the inferences I have for myself. Based on that, I've set certain goals for my next quarter. These are the top 3 goals, which are SMART goals, which I'll be working upon. Different resources, how my team leader is able to help me with my PDP. And then on what happens is, on a monthly basis, we have a one-to-one for PDP, where we actually track these three goals. What is the end goal? What are the different activities? What are my key learnings? Did I start doing it or not? And things like that. We track it. This was September, October, November. Then we track it. The debrief happens once a quarter. So now it will happen in the November meeting. And all these goals and PDPs is based on a competency stack. So this is how my team leader, or any team leader in a region office, they actually track their team members. Are they actually be able to play by their strengths or not, based on checking if their skills, if their strengths and skills are being utilized in the team or not. So this is one of the templates we use. You need not use the same template. You can have a simpler one. You can create your own template. You can share with each other how to use. But PDP is one of the strongest tool which you have to align the kind of strengths your team member have to their performances. So some of the tips I have, like at the end, wrapping up to the session, I have like 9 tips. First is to manage your team based on your strengths. Is the first thing, you need to identify individual strengths of your team members. You can take a screenshot of this if you want. First you need to identify that individual strength. Then you need to assign the team projects based on individual strength. So if you know some people are, say, good in communication or good in design, for example, then you can assign them as a, say, conference manager for your local conference, for example, things like that. So assign the team projects which you have within your team based on the team strength, so that they can improve them. Include the strength conversation in your PDPs and also in your team meetings. So whenever they report on their work, check if they are actually playing by their strength, or what are the bottlenecks which they're facing. Is it based on their weaknesses and things like that? Then align the strength and with the responsibilities which they have. So for example, is your LCVP TM, say, a people's person, if that is one of their strength, then actually are they using that strength in their role or not? Or say if your finance person is, say, good with numbers, or it's good with data and analytics, are they actually able to use their strength in their day-to-day job or not? check these things and encourage them to hone their skills and improve their skills also. That is the last step. Basically encourage them to hone their skills. Maybe you can arrange some training and mentorship for them to improve upon their strength. And some of the things you can do to align that to your management practices is whenever your team members set goal, ask them to set goal based on their strength and make sure that it is 70% or higher so that they also have some challenging, they also have a challenging goal. Make sure that they don't set the goal too low so that they lead towards that goal. The second thing, which is the most important thing, is you need to be able to identify when is the time you're leading them, when is the time you're coaching them, and when is the time you're mentoring them. There's a difference between coaching and mentoring. You can look it up online. It's basically like when you coach them, how you, like you're majorly working on their performance, and mentoring is something about more development. So coaching is more about performance, mentoring is more about their development. So how are you balancing your role as their team leader between a coach and a mentor? Third thing is include the strength conversation in your PDP meetings. That's definitely, as I mentioned it before also, in alignment, you need to work upon that. And last but not least, help align those strengths and responsibilities with their PDP. Having said that, I don't have a time for a particular story. It's one of my favorite quotes from Gary Vee, is that if bet on your strength, you do you, basically. If you prefer to sit on a desk and focus and do something that's working for you, make it happen. Never make the mistake of thinking that you need to be a louder person or a more outgoing person or fake a bigger personality. So whatever naturally comes to you as your strength, you need to bet on that strength in managing your LCP role. If coaching people comes naturally to you, good. Do it with your EB members. If it doesn't, you can keep improving. Meanwhile, you can help them work with some mentors or help them or connect them with people who can coach them and things like that. But the idea is, like, you will have a lot of feedback from people. Feedback is good. If you don't take feedback, then it limits growth. But if you take feedback and you change, then you may compromise your authenticity. So the idea is compromise on your authenticity, be you, and bet on your strength. So quickly taking recap of what we did in the session is, first, identify your own strengths and weaknesses and your leadership style accordingly. Second, help identify the individuals you have on your team, and then identify their strengths and weaknesses. Use that in your team building to understand collective team strengths and weaknesses, and align different management practices you have in your team based on your team strengths and weaknesses. So that is a quick recap for the session. And last but not the least, this is the guiding question I ask myself whenever I lead any team, and it is a good question, is that always keep in the back of your mind that how am I facilitating a powerful leadership development experience for my EB member or for my EB team. So keep this in the back of your mind. Am I actually allowing them to develop and grow in the role? And how am I facilitating that powerful leadership experience? So that's it for this particular workshop. Thank you so much. You have a 30 minutes break now. I can take some questions, but if you don't have any questions, you can leave and join back the next workshop in exactly 30 minutes. So if you have questions, you can ask now.
I got a question. If
yes, you.
This throws from around. I want to ask like about a bit about like self-awareness. You know, what if our EB members aren't too sure of their own strengths themselves? You know, what would you recommend we do in that situation?
That's a very good question. It's an ongoing process. Of course, you won't wake up one day, okay, now I'm self-aware. It doesn't happen like that. But you as a team leader can facilitate those through conversations within your team. Ask them certain guiding questions. Do you know why are you selected on their team? Do you understand what is your strength? Like, for example, the initial activity which I did with you to understand your own strength, right? Where does the strength come from? You can do certain self-reflection activities. There are multiple these kind of guiding questions and reflection activities you can start with. So, of course, self-reflection is extremely important. You can start with certain personality tests. Like, I personally don't believe definitely in putting people into whole and then just labeling them as, okay, this person is ISTJ, so this person will be this. it's very fluid. It doesn't necessarily happen that way, but that's a good place to start with. So identify their personality traits, what type they are, how their previous experiences have shaped them in the person who they are. You can, these are the conversations you can start with. One of the things which I did in my MCP term is we actually worked with an external coach who helped my team go through this sort of a self-discovery journey. So I am aware that LC in Australia, you have certain external coach who work with your MC. If you can take their help to facilitate a session for your EB and things like that, that could be great. These are some of the things you can do to start that conversation, self-awareness. I hope that does answer the question.
Yeah, it does. That's pretty cool stuff. I'll give that a thought. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions you have? Anyone else has any question? I'll wait for 10 seconds.
Yeah, I have a question actually. Okay, so my question was about sometimes when people are, looking at growth, they usually tend to focus on their weaknesses, and they sometimes do it even with their subconscious mind. They're trying to focus in it. So how can I, as a leader, try to make sure that they do not get distracted in this process where they start focusing on their weaknesses rather than their strength?
I see. Um, Let me ask you a question. What do you see on the screen right now?
Questions?
Right, that's probably like 5% of the screen, but there is a beautiful design. There's a lot of things which is behind the screen, right? That's a human mindset. We tend to focus on the negative. We tend to focus on what is odd rather than what is major. So there's a Pareto principle, like 80-20 principle, right? There are 20% of the things in life which will lead to 80% of the results which you see. So you as a leader need to start that conversation. Okay, improving on your weaknesses is good, which is always nice. You can keep working on them. But meanwhile, why are you not working on your strength to get maximum results? Because that is the easiest thing. That is the easiest thing to do. There is the key difference between strength and a weakness is uh, both of them, like more than the differences, there are a lot of similarities between team and weaknesses. Both of them come from certain insecurities or certain things certain things which have happened in the past in your life, and that turns into like keep working on that more and more. That turns into a strength or either a weakness. So if you ask, there is no such thing as an absolute thing where you can ask them to work on, okay, now you work on this strength, now you work on this weaknesses. But you can help you can start the conversation at the point where you can help them identify why betting on your strength would lead to more results than just keep working on your weaknesses. Does that answer your question? It's more about the mindset. That's what I'm trying to say. Like it's very natural to look at our weaknesses. Okay, I'm not good at designing, or I'm not good at working with data management. So how will I be able to do, say, operation management if I'm not good with data? That's a good thing. But if you're good with, say, people, then you can lead your team leaders, or you can develop them to work along with you. Or if you're good with certain else area, then how you can turn that strength into a skill and get better at what you do. So that's where your role comes in mentoring them to focus on their strength. I hope that does answer your question.
I think I understood a bit of it, but I think it will more. I'll get more clarity once I start practicing it in a whole. Yeah.
Thank you. Of course, it will get better. Any more questions?
Yeah. Thank you, Prayog.
Thanks, Deepa. Anyone else has anything else? Any other question? Going once, twice. Okay, somebody puts in the chat. No. All right, that's it then. Thank you so much, guys. Take your break. See you in 20 minutes just for the next workshop. Thanks for the session. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.